Good evening. Welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this evening. But it's all about the Champions League. Massive week at Celtic. And I'm going to go through some stats of the Champions League that you might find interesting. Some stats that you might find interesting. Let me just jump onto the live first of all. Just make sure that everything is okay. And just double check this. There we go. It's fine. Lots of people in the chat already. Let's all do a bow. How late will Baz be tonight? I was right on time. Right on time. You just the delay. Anyway, in the chat there is quite a few people. Dave Morton's in the house. Chow Pao is in also. Big Des, Dave McConnell, Stephen Docherty, Mr. Quinn is in the house. I'm just trying to jump through these. The conversation. Stephen Johnson's in the house. Hope you're good, Stephen. Sean Short's in the house also. Michelle Shaw. Cineres is also. And I think Celtic Mad. And if I've missed anything there, apologies. Anyway, jump through to the end of the chat. So yeah, some stats for the Champions League, which you might find interesting when you look at the Champions League. We have played 10 games. So we've played we've played 6 games. We've won 2, we've drawn 3, and we've lost just the one game, and that was the game against. Let's not talk about that game. But when it comes to goals, this is where it gets interesting. And there's been 10 goals for Celtic across the 6 games that we've played so far. And there have been 10 goals against. 3 of them, obviously, 6 of them obviously coming in, 7 coming in the one game. But then when you look further into the stats, that Celtic have had a total of 61 attempts at goal. 61 attempts at goal over the course of the 6 games so far in the Champions League. We've had 25 attempts on target, and we've had 23 attempts off target, and we've had 13 shots blocked. Which, when you think about it, is it's not too bad. It's not too bad when you look at the stats like that. I mean, only give me 2 seconds, and I'll get the picture of these stats up. See if we can get them on the screen. There we go. Get this. I wasn't going to use this, but be as well. Let's get it up on to. There we go. There's the stats that I was just talking about. So when you look at it, Celtic have had 25 attempts on target, 61 attempts at goal, and 61 attempts over the 6 games, but only 10 goals to show for it. And I think that's why Brendan Rodgers is obviously thinking about a new striker at Celtic. The fact they've had 25 attempts on target, 23 off target, and only 13 blocked. We've had over 264 attacks, and we've had 1 penalty. We've had 40 corners. We've got offside 10. When you look at the goals, the way that they were scored, the 10 goals, 9 were inside the area and 1 was outside the area. And you get 5 on the right foot, 2 on the left foot, and then there's 2 on the right foot, and 1 is another part of the body. Tell me who was the one that scored the one from the other part of the body. It was Dyson Myther, wasn't it? But anyway, tell me what you think the team. Should Brendan Rodgers make any different changes to the team? Arne Engels has been speaking about the Champions League, and he says, so I'm just reading some of the comments there. In other words, goalkeeping coaches doing the homework. I could say that. But anyway, Arne Engels has been speaking about the Champions League, and he believes that Celtic belong in the knockout stages, which is all fine believing that you, I mean, I believe that Celtic should win the Champions League, but that's never going to happen. But you can believe. He says that Celtic need to take the next step towards aiming against win against Young Boys on Wednesday night. They have played, Celtic have not played European knockout football since 2012-2013 season, when we lost to Juventus in the last 16. With 6 fixtures played in the revamped, expanded Champions League, Brendan Rodgers' men are 21st in a 36-team table, which is fantastic in the big scale and the big wide world of Champions League football. It's fantastic that we are in that top 24, but I think that we should have done better in some games. When you look at those stats and you see how many attempts on goal that we have had, having 61 total attempts over the competition and only the 10 goals to show for it. When you look at the 25, this has been something that Brendan Rodgers spoke about last winter. Not the one that's just passed, the winter before. Towards the end of the Champions League last season, he bemoaned about the fact the amount of the final third. It was a comment that Brendan Rodgers used to use quite a lot last season, and he was talking about the inadequacy of the final third. He's not been talking about that this much this season because he's not had much. He's not really needed to. He's now come out and said that I don't need my strikers to score 25, 30 goals. But in reality, he needs his strikers to be scoring more because 61 attempts on goals and 10, and especially with some of the easier chances that we have been missing, you would think that we would be just a little bit better. Not asking for loads of goals, scoring 4 or 5 in a game, just 1 or 2 of them would have been nice. Anyway, a win against pointless side, Young Boys. We have to beat them. They're sitting with no points. They've been beaten every single game they've played, and then that will kind of make sure that we go to Villa Park come the final game. We've got a great chance. We've put ourselves in a fan. Hopefully, if we win this game, we know that we've qualified. We'll have done enough to make sure that we've qualified for the knockout phase. Engels believes that the 5-1 win over Bratislava in September, where he scored his first Champions League goal after signing for a record 11 million, Arne Engels scores again. The 21-year-old midfielder says, "We are really ready as a squad. We really feel we have the qualities to make a difference." Arne Engels then went on and says, "We feel that in big games against good teams, we can really do well and we can perform well." Don't say anything about Dortmund to the lads. So, of course, as a team, we feel that we belong to the knockout stages and we'll do everything to get there. But we'll see after the game. Just now we're focusing on the game and the job, and then we need to see about the Aston Villa game. So hopefully we can talk about it after that. I don't want to talk about it. He's just been talking about it. We still need to achieve, and it's a big game coming on Wednesday and a big opportunity. It's not only Champions League that we want to achieve in and go through to the knockouts. He says, obviously, we're really focused on the cups at home, domestically. And the League Cup's in the bag, and we want the Scottish Cup also. But when you look at it, it's the next game, and then the next game is the big game. This is the biggest game of the season. This is the biggest game. Brendan Rodgers, I mean, I put on the thumbnail before the game at the weekend that Brendan Rodgers needs to get his team selection correct. He needs to be 100. I don't think it's even the team selection. I think that the players need to turn up. Although it was a fantastic game at the weekend, and there was glimpses of us getting back to, I mean, we dominated the game, right? But it's okay dominating the game, but if you're not putting away your chances, and let's be realistic here, I mean, you can dominate a game all you want, but winning 2-1, and we should have had the game put to bed in the first half. If that happens in the Champions League, you know, we're going to get, there's better defenders and there's better strikers in the Champions League that will just knock us out. Will he start Johnny Kenny? I don't know. How would anyone put pressure on young Johnny Kenny? I don't think so. Baz, there's no poll now. There's no poll tonight, mate. Hit the like button twice on your phone, Baz, and on my TV. Baz is the best. Is Celtic Baz. Cheer for that. Rogers is taking Trusty to the next level, or or would he settle for Scales? Hmm. Baz, I said back in October that we should bring in an attacking coach since Q left. We don't have one in place. It's clear on the park. Big Rab, see, he dealt with more the wingers. He dealt more with the wingers from an attacking sense. When you look at the set piece stuff comes down to Strachan, doesn't it? The set piece stuff comes down to Strachan. But I know what you're saying. We've not really got anyone. What's that other? There was another coach brought in. Anyway, it's all. It doesn't really matter what the coaches say and do now. It's the players on the park ultimately need to start putting the chances away. The chances that we're creating. I mean, we could dominate this game. 70, 80% possession on Wednesday night at Celtic Park. And if we're only winning 1-0 going into the last 5 minutes, I'm sorry, but I'd be fearful that young boys would almost get their first point in the Champions League. And Kenny can't play. He's not in the Euro squad. Yes, he's not in the Euro squad. I actually had the Euro squad. It's interesting because when you look at the squad, pages on. When you look at the Champions League squad on the Champions League website, I don't know if this is the full squad or if it's just everyone in the Celtic squad. Because when you see the players that are mentioned, no, he's not in the Champions League squad. This is the full Champions League squad. It's absolutely bonkers. And the keepers that are in the Champions League squad for Celtic, right? You would think they would just be the three keepers, but there's not. There's Casper Schmeichel, there's Sinisalo, there's Scott Bain, there's Joe Morrison, there's Aidan Rice, there's Marcus Gill, and there's Jamie Meikle. And the ages of the keepers, this is how mad it is. You've also got Casper Schmeichel, who's 38. You've got Sinisalo, who's 23. You've got Scott Bain, who's 33. You've got Joe Morrison, who's 20. You've got Aidan Rice, who's 18. You've got Marcus Gill, who's 17. And then you've got Jamie Meikle, who is 17 also. And I never even knew who these players were. They're obviously for the youth team. The defenders in the Champions League squad is Alistair Johnson, Greg Taylor, Liam Scales, Austin Trusty, Alex Baye. That's why we can't let Alex Baye go before the Aston Villa game. Norobski, Carter Vickers. It's got Rio Hitati as a defender, which I think is weird. But they've got Rio Hitati as a defender in this. No idea why. Mitchell Frame, young Lenny, young Ben McPherson, Mitchell Robertson, Josh, Tony Ralston, Stephen Welsh, he's away. Colby Donovan, Alistair Davidson, Hill Finlay, Samuel Iziguzu, and Robbie Heron. Midfielders, Louis Palmer, Kyogo Furuashi, he's a forward, and Nico Kuhn, he's away also. That's can't be right. That's this season's as well. But one person that is in the squad is Daniel Cummins. Will Daniel Cummins come into the fore for this game? Or is Daniel Cummins away out the door? Young Francis Turley's in there. I say there was a young lad signed. One of the young lads from the B team was sold to the Hearts B team. Having scouts for various positions would cost far too much. But Kevin, would it though? When you look at the money that Celtic have just invested in the new setup, and I don't know how far on that's coming, the new setup for the B team and the women's team. I mean, that's costing about 20 million. Welsh hooked at half time for his new team. That's the second game in a row that he's been hooked at half time. Chilpil. He was hooked at the first time as well. The first time he was also. Baz, how long can we keep a hold of Kuhn? Says Celtic Mad. We'll be lucky to keep a hold of Kuhn after this summer. I think if Celtic manage to turn down 25 to 30 million, um, I think that we'll be doing well. Can you realistically see Celtic holding on to Nico Kuhn? And I think if we do sell Nico Kuhn, Brendan Rodgers is up against it. He's up against it. Our B team players just can't get a chance. Chilpil says, "Yeah, but there's one being sold to Hearts B team." Celtic Mad, we hold all the cards, says Dave Morton, but we don't hold all the cards, Dave Morton. That's the thing. When it comes to Celtic and the 25 to 30 million will be the money that it goes for. If a bid comes in for 25 to 30 million, you can guarantee that Celtic will go, yeah, we'll think about it. Without a doubt, they'll think about it. They'll just see that the massive profit that they're going to make on the player. And I think that we need, for once in our life, well, for once in the last 10 to 15 years, we need a period of stability with the players. And I definitely think that when we look to next season, we need to be keeping the majority of our best players. Because I think if we were going into this summer having sold Nico Kuhn, I think that it would be sell Kuhn for 30 million and 3 players at 10 million each, like Engels. Yeah, and I know what you're saying, Kaiser, but if you want to build a team that has consistency in the Champions League, look how close we've been in the Champions League. The stats don't lie. That's not that one, it's this one, isn't it? The stats don't lie. There's been 61 attempts on goal. There's been 25 attempts on target, 23 off target, and only the 13 blocked. Been over 260 attacks on goal from Celtic. And when it comes to the shots, I mean, those kind of stats, we should be scoring more goals at this level. And I think that's what Brendan Rodgers will be thinking. And the only way to do that is by keeping a hold of Nico Kuhn. Keep a hold of Nico Kuhn, because let's face it, it's who's the better player, Nico Kuhn or Dyson Myra? I would say that Nico Kuhn is better than Dyson. I think he maybe just edges it. But we need to, for the fact that we're going to have to qualify for the Champions League next season, we need to keep the likes of Nico Kuhn. And can Celtic afford to turn down a 25 to 30 million pound offer this summer? And if they're going to sell him, if they are going to sell Nico Kuhn, they would have to sell him at the beginning. And this is where Brendan Rodgers then got frustrated with Celtic, because if we sell him halfway through the pre-season, we're then going to get players coming in towards the end of the transfer window or on deadline day, and then they've not had pre-season. How many times did Brendan Rodgers talk about the importance of getting players in and getting players a full pre-season? This is why he's been trying to get in so many players this window, so that it doesn't have to rely. He knows that he's going to have his squad and his first team that he's hoping to have for the Champions League in for the pre-season, because the pre-season is what makes a player. Nico Kuhn had a pre-season this year. Look at him. He's absolutely flying this year. I would sell Nico Kuhn for 25 million. He doesn't, I don't know, just say it. There you go. Guys, has just given me the idea. There we go. Right. Start a poll. There you go. There's your poll. With over 224 people currently on the live. Who's the better player, Kuhn or Maida? Who do you think is the better player? This will be an interesting one. Get as many votes as we can in for this. There's over 223 people on. There's been over 580 people on the live so far. And it's split down the middle as the votes coming in already. This will be a good one. Wednesday's game. We might sell after qualification though. But then it's too late in the window. You're missing the point, JJ. Brendan Rodgers has always said that for Celtic to get the benefit of a player throughout the season, he has to have them in. All the tactical training that Brendan Rodgers does for the season, because there is now no longer the winter shutdown, all the tactical training that they do for the season is done in pre-season. That's why it's so important for us to get the players in before pre-season, because any tactical changes that they're going to make throughout the season, they'll have already spoke about it and have trained and played that way in pre-season. If you remember, Rodgers went to a 3-5-2 in one game in pre-season this year, and we thought, fantastic, he's going to change the system, he's going to change from his 4-3-3, but that was him just putting it in place, that they know they have that ability to go from a 3-5-2 to, this is, if you get Champions League qualification, that's not going to happen until mid-August. When that's too late to bring in players. We'll have already started the season. We'll have already played the Premier Sports Cup on the 16th and 17th of August. So we've had Champions League games, we've had the first games of the season, and we've had the first round of the Cup before we're pretty much bringing in players. That's not a good way to run the club, if you ask me. And especially the way that Brendan Rodgers has been going on about the fact that he wanted 2 strikers in before they went away to America last season. He wanted those players in. When it got to the end of the summer in August last year, he said that he felt that the Celtic hierarchy could have acted a bit faster. They were a bit lackadaisical. They were a bit slow in the transfers. I mean, look, and he was sarcastically said when the Adam Ida deal was done, oh, look how quick that happened. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, as if I didn't expect that. And all because Kyogo goes down and holds his shoulder. So anyway, 102 votes. Smash the thumbs up, says Kaiser, and it's split like an independence. No, it's not, it's changing now. And who is the better player? There's been 107 votes so far. 58% is going for Nico Kuhn, 42. I think I might run this vote again, actually. It's a good one. Who is the better player, Kuhn or Maida? Tell me in the comments. Okay, fair enough. Keep Kuhn for another full year or two, but we'll still get a big money at some point. Yeah, we will, JJ. We will. We will that. I think that if we keep him, and if Brendan Rodgers can bring in another winger, because we need another decent winger to come in as backup. The fact that Brendan Rodgers it makes me worry about Nico Kuhn this summer. The fact that Brendan Rodgers is so insistent in this window. I should have got water. He's so insistent in this window to get in 2 wingers, not just one, but 2 wingers. Now we need one if Luis Palma's going to go. You need a replacement for him. But Brendan Rodgers will know that the board will be thinking, look, if an offer comes in this summer, and that's why Brendan's trying to get in Lou Barry. That's why he's trying to get in that other winger for the Norwegian one. Baz, I thought the washing machine and Hoover, 1 kilo. What? Stephen McDonald's bought a washing machine. There we go. Oh, jeez. Kaiser says, Baz Legend, I think we have, there are ducks in a row right after this midweek game. I don't think it'll be this midweek game, Kaiser. I think it'll be it'll be the morning after we can't get rid of Alex Bailly until after the game against Aston Villa. Now, that's when I think that things will start to happen. I think we may get Kieran Tierney in this coming week to give the fans a bit of a boost. But when it comes to the Luis Palma situation, when it comes to, I think you're looking at Thursday the 30th. Thursday the 30th is the big day for me to watch out for when it comes to transfers, mate. I think that day is the day that things will start going bump, 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 bump. And when it happens, it will happen quick. There'll be 2 or 3 announcements within hours, if not days. I hate the transfer window until the last hour. Yep, and we will be doing a transfer window slamming shut live again on the Monday night. Dave Morton, we have to admit about the Champions League, we can't sell our best players if we want to progress. Exactly, Chilpil. When you look at the Champions League table, um, when we look at the Champions League table, I mean, look at the teams that were in and around us. I mean, we've done fantastically well to have scored 10 goals in the Champions League, but we've let in 10 goals. If we hadn't, our goal difference would have been better. We're sitting on a goal difference of 0, right? We're sitting at that's sort of no big deal. But when you look at the draws, you look at the games that were drawn. But then again, people will say, well, look at Man City. Man City have lost 2 games and the drawn one. Where Celtic, we had that defeat to Dortmund, and then we had a draw to Atalanta. We won at home against Leipzig, and then we had 2 draws on the trot, where everyone thought, I mean, there was people on this chat saying at the beginning of the season that Celtic would end up with 15 points. And I thought, that's maybe a bit much. And I thought, realistically, I mean, 12 points would be enough to get us through. But it's going to be close. It's going to be close. As long as the teams under Shakhtar Donetsk and those type of teams, as long as they, I mean, you're talking, it's going to be touch and go. It's going to be touch and go. Celtic, it's a must win game. If we do not win, we will win. We will win. I'm confident. I was confident before a ball was kicked. I was confident that we would beat Young Boys before the back. Christy says, at this point, yes, we need to keep Taylor due to the skullduggery behind the scenes. He either gets allowed to leave or he resigns, knuckles down. It's either happening, therefore. I think that the Taylor situation will be one of those situations that that falls into place the last. I mean, I don't even know if Celtic have got another option after Kieran Tierney, because if Kieran Tierney comes in and then Alex Bailly then goes back to Barcelona to then go out on loan somewhere else, and Greg Taylor leaves, who do we have at left back? Are we prepared to go to the end of the season with Kieran Tierney playing as your main left back? Is that not a bit of a gamble? Is that not a bit of a gamble playing with just Kieran Tierney? I think that unless there is a massive change of heart by Greg Taylor, I think Celtic are pressing a gamble button, and they are playing a massive game of poker with the Greg Taylor situation and the left back situation. I mean, it's only today that it was confirmed that Alexandro Bernabei was sold. Now, we know that the deal was done and dusted at the beginning of the year. 4.5 million. I think we'll get a winger and KT, and that's it, says Chill Pill. Where's Lanky when you need him? Where's Lanky when you need him? Taylor back to his backup is perfect. But if he doesn't sign it, this isn't the issue with the Kieran Tierney, Greg Taylor situation. If we keep Greg Taylor to the end of the season, right, and then allow him to walk away for free, absolutely nothing, and then we then have to go into the summer getting another left back. It's not an ideal situation. It's a situation that should have been resolved years ago. It was a situation that we tried to resolve bringing in Bernabei, but it was not. It was a situation that was tried to bring in. Scales can play left back. There's a point, Paul Baird. Yep, there's a point. It could be the case then that you might see Greg Taylor leaving before the end of this window, the last week of the last few days of the window, and we use Scales as left back towards the end of the season. It gives me the fear of death, that does. He's nowhere near, and you've got to say it, he's nowhere near as good as Greg Taylor playing that position, but he can play it. KT's coming, and he won't go near Jose. Yeah, he's definitely coming home. Answer the question, Baz. 4th time asking. Do Man City not play PSG next? I have no idea who Man City play. I have no idea, Willie man, and it's the first time that I've seen the question. I have no idea, and it'll be interesting if they do, if they do. Just undone the Dundee game, 1-0 for Dundee. So far, KT maybe done physical, is done physically, massive risk. I don't think he is. Barry Craig says Taylor should be signed up. Should be signed up in January. Do you think Man City do play PSG this round of games? Well, that's interesting then, because if they were to draw each other, if they were to get a draw, Man City, PSV, if they were to get a draw, that puts them both on 9 points. If Celtic get the draw, if Celtic get the win, it puts us up on the 12-point marker. And you're just hoping that Dynamo Zagreb and Stuttgart, I mean, they're the only ones that could really close the gap. God, it's going to be one of those games. I mean, if what games start tomorrow night, it's going to be interesting because it'll probably be the teams at the bottom. I've not even checked what games are on tomorrow night. I think we'll need to watch some of them just to see what happens, because I'll tell you one thing, it's going to be it could be a case that on Wednesday night, Celtic fans are spending more time looking at where we are in the league table and hoping that we get enough goals. Ultimately, it's going to come down to goals. Ultimately, we need to score goals. When you look at the teams above us, right? Real Madrid, 9 points, plus 1 goal difference. Club Brugge, 10 points, minus 2 goal difference. Feyenoord, 10 points, minus 1, right? Sporting, plus 2. Monaco, plus 2. Right, when you look up to the teams that are on 12th, Milan plus 3, Atalanta, I mean, they're sitting on 11 points with plus 9. Juventus are sitting with 11 points plus 4. Celtic need to win by at least 3 goals to make sure. We could go up into the top 16. It is that close. We need to score goals. It's been the downfall of the club all season. The last couple of months. Been the downfall of us not putting away chances. We need to put away the chances on Wednesday night because it is that close in the Champions League. If we can get another 3 goals, I mean, we're sitting. The good thing about Celtic, we're sitting on a 0, right? If we get plus 3, say we win 3-0, it puts us on 12 points, but then it also puts us above Monaco if they were to win. No, because they would be 13. God, Jesus, it is. We're going to need to score 3 or 4. 4 goals. Ideally, you want us to win 4-0, and that puts us, and it cements a place in and around the last 16, depending on what other teams do. It's going to be nervy, I tell you that, and it's going to be one of those ones where I think I'll need to do a live 15 points incoming. Do you think there's 15 points incoming? Kieran Douglas says we could be up to 13th, depending on the results after this week. We could be, Kieran, but it means that there's going to have to be a lot of teams that drop points, and you can't see it. This is when the big clubs turn up in the Champions League. This is when the clubs that have got experience to get into the last 16 kind of turn up and start scoring goals. But Man City are absolute garbage right now. You could say PSG, Celtic are meeting Sitters FC lately, says Tarmac. 6 goals, please. They have injuries. If we can score 6 goals, if we score anything above 3, I will be over the moon. Absolutely over the moon. And Prince Albert of Monaco is a massive Celtic fan. Kieran Douglas is saying 10-0 on Wednesday. 6 penalties will do. Stephen Johnson's going for 5-0. We'll do our predictions tomorrow night. What? No idea what she's shouting at. See if we don't qualify. I can't imagine not qualifying after doing so well, says Bradlad88. Dogboy67. And yes, ideally we just want to win, but ideally we want to win by 4 or more goals, because goals are the things that is. What's she doing? Chasing hedgehogs? Hedgehogs. If you come at the sharp fans should get right behind the players. We'll be fine. Yes, I'll be over the moon if we score, says Paradise Found. So will I, says Hank. His wife, not a man. What? Right, out. Get. Nah, you're in the bad books. The fucking dog's been eating a hedgehog. Goals make prizes. They do so. League. Right, anyway, let's get back to the poll. There's been 161 votes. Who's the better player, Kuhn or Maida? No, get out of here. You're in far too much trouble being here. I'm not getting dragged into your nonsense, Doug. Kuhn by 62%, Dyson Maida by 38%, 161 votes. Let's just end the poll there. And that will come up. And let's see, yeah, we lost 1% to the Kuhn. So who's the better player? 62% goes to Kuhn. No, it was Dyson Maida that lost to 1%. And 161 votes. Baz, you shouldn't speak to the missus like that. I should get slapped. Yeah, it was that. Paul, I will get behind the players except Taylor. Willie man, you missed the first comment. I've no idea. Very low at your end. Anyone else? Is it very low? Shouldn't be that low tonight. Maybe it is a little bit, but I have no idea. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for this evening. I shall be back. Plus my throat's gone. Early goal at Set of Paradise Alive after the Champions League theme. We should be forced. Should feed off the atmosphere. Feed off the atmosphere. Jeez. Anyway, Baz, knick knack, paddywhack, leave the dog alone. If she stop trying to bring hedgehogs into the house, it'll be fine. Anyway, that's me done and dusted. I shall see you tomorrow morning for the Celtic news. It's kicking around. There's nothing kicking around this evening. No transfer speculations or nothing. Celtic told what would happen if Greg Taylor. Interesting. There's nothing new coming out. Anyway, that is me done and dusted for this evening. I'm going to get some hot water and honey for my throat. And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic evening to all you Celtic fans all around the world.
Lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the Lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the Lit. Roll up to the party. Roll up to the party.